Shelterforce's Top 10 Stories of 2024. Every year, Shelterforce reports on crucial affordable housing topics. From our 2024 coverage, here's what caught readers' attention the most. Number 10. Affordable Housing Sector Split on Rent Control by Aaron Fernando. In the Twin Cities, where voters have recently supported rent control, most nonprofit housing developers have stayed silent on the topic, while some have openly lined up with the developers and landlords who oppose it. Number 9. Affordable Housers Face Deepening Rental Arrears and Ballooning Expenses by Corey McDonald. 4 years after the pandemic first wrought havoc on the American economy, nonprofit housers are being overwhelmed by rental arrears.
The trend is very concerning, not only for ownership and property management, but also at the macro level, community, residents, investors, and lenders.
Can they balance their social mission against their operational realities? Number 8. In upstate New York, the fight for good cause continues by Francis Wynn. New York State has passed a good cause eviction law, but municipalities outside of New York City must individually opt in, and many are doing so, and some of them are passing versions that cover more landlords than New York City's does. Number 7. Redlining maps didn't affect neighborhoods the way you think they did by Alan Malik. Homeowners Loan Corporation maps have long been blamed for the racial inequities in today's black neighborhoods, but recent research shows that's misleading. This doesn't mean that redlining didn't happen, or didn't have deep effects, but it does mean assuming those maps explain where and why is less helpful. Number 6. In the rush to build, existing affordable housing is falling apart by Priya Jayachandran. With attention and funding focused on new housing supply over preservation and operations, even mission-driven nonprofit affordable housing managers are struggling to maintain decent conditions in older affordable housing.
Preserving existing housing averts displacement of residents and addresses housing stability as well as supply.
Number 5. Soaring property rates threaten affordable housing by Franklin Schneider. Rapidly rising insurance premiums are forcing affordable housing developers to cut back on programming, lay off staff, and even sell.
We have to have this additional layer of liability coverage that some lenders are requiring that really protects them, but at the cost of potentially driving us and our affordable housing projects out of business.
Number 4. Colorado wants to give tenants money for paying rent by Roshan Abraham. A new statewide program aims to help renters benefit from the value they add to the buildings they live in.
It sounded too good to be true. You get free money back for paying your rent, which you have to do already.
Number 3. Mixed results. How an Eviction Prevention Program is Going by Shelby R. King. In 2019, a large affordable housing operator implemented a unique program meant to reduce evictions across its properties. Several years, one pandemic, and an economic downturn later, we checked in to see how the landlord and the tenants are faring. Number 2. Dual Crises. Housing in a Changing Climate, an 8-part series led by Laura Hurd. Americans are struggling more than ever to find and maintain housing they can afford. The climate crisis is only making things worse. In this series, Shelterforce takes a deeper look at the intersection of housing and climate change and the threat a changing climate poses to the nation's stock of affordable housing.
We covered a range of topics about the climate crisis and housing crossover, which includes things like extreme heat, what makes affordable housing green, folks who are relocating communities away from the coasts in response to climate change, our response to wildfires, and a lot more.
What are some of the possible solutions and challenges to confront that threat? Number 1. How Project 2025 Would Dismantle HUD by Shelby R. King. The Heritage Foundation's conservative playbook isn't new, but critics say the latest version's policies and platforms are more discriminatory and dangerous than in the past.
What they're saying here is that the government should take vouchers from poor black women and give them to married couples.
This article from September has unsurprisingly gotten a second wave of interest since the election. These articles are free to read, but not free to produce. Make a donation to support more reporting like this in 2025. Visit shelterforce.org/donate.